Hi everyone, my name is Martin and welcome to another great edition of MP Astro. And today I'd like to show you my awesome planet killer, also known as the Skywatcher 180 Maksutov. It's a 180mm huge aperture telescope. It's a compound telescope and it's a fantastic telescope for looking at the moon and the planets. Not so great on deep sky objects. However, I have done loads and loads of videos based around this telescope since I bought it second hand for a mere £600. It was an absolute bargain at that time to purchase a second hand 180mm Maksutov. This telescope is seriously underestimated. It really is. And if you're an owner of this telescope, you can also appreciate the optical quality, the razor sharpness of the images produced by this telescope. And I've done a lot of videos based around that. I did a super tune on the actual Maksutov itself. I've also have done a integrated cooler, because the biggest problem with this telescope is the cool down period. So again, there's a video for that, to make your own DIY cooler to cool down and speed up the cooling process of this telescope. And I even convert it to an astrograph. Yes, I did get a few people sort of disregard that video. However, yet again, I've proven how to do it, convert it to an astrograph, and it really is quite a remarkable telescope for what it is. Despite its slower focal ratio, alright, it's a very slow telescope and it's not really ideally suited for taking long exposure. However, when you speed up the optics, this is absolutely amazing telescope. The resolution, the images produced, even for deep sky objects, really is quite phenomenal. It's just that I think the Maksutov gets a bit of a bum deal when it comes to super planetary images. Alright, a lot of people overlook this telescope and go for Schmidt-Cassegrain, particular models like a 925 inch right up to a 14-inch aperture telescope, which is great. Aperture does play a huge part of revealing a lot of finer detail. However, what this telescope offers a lot better than compared to some models of Schmidt-Cassegrains is that it's got a lower obstruction. This particular one is around about 21% obstruction, probably even less. But because of that less obstruction on the secondary mirror in the meniscus lens, it does actually give you a much more razor sharp images. And this model, if you compare it to a 6-inch apochromatic refractor, this will probably beat it, probably be on par or beat it, and that's saying something. Don't forget, refractors are the ideal choice for planets because they have no central obstruction. So their images, you basically get a pure light cone, not restricted, and you get a much razor sharp image through a refractor compared to a Maksutov or Schmidt-Cassegrain. And that is a fact. There's a lot of people who would sort of disagree with me there, but however, refractors are the best telescopes for planets because there is no central obstruction. You will get a clear razor image. So yes, the only disadvantage with a refractor is that you will, if you're going to pay for premium optics, you need to go for an apochromatic refractor. However, this is where the Maksutov wins big because it's already color corrected. There is no chromatic aberration with this Maksutov. So yes, you do get a smaller central obstruction. You won't get a much sort of razor sharp image compared to a 6-inch apochromatic refractor. However, the fraction of a cost of this telescope is a lot cheaper compared to a 6-inch apochromatic refractor, and we're talking thousands of pounds here. A 6-inch apochromatic refractor will be in the region between 2,000 maybe 4,000 pounds for a telescope of that caliber. So despite the cool down problems, it's not really a problem, but again, if you set it up, leave it outside for about an hour or 2 hours, who cares? And again, I have done a cooler which you can speed it up, so again, please check that video out. And I've had a lot of great images through this telescope, and every time I think a lot of people say this is a bit of a niche telescope. It is, but you can actually do more with this telescope. It really is. If you put your mind to it, and you know, you're gonna have to spend a bit of money to get what you want with this telescope, but by God, you have got an amazing optical instrument here for the money. So in this video, like always, I'm going to take you through my journey yet again, testing this telescope out. So as I'm taking the imaging session, I'll also take you through how we stack and process our planetary images. All right, so there'll be a little video in this video to show you how to do that. So before we start, please hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe on this channel. Also share this video out. Again, there may be someone that may be interested in this particular telescope. Also, don't forget to hit the notifications bell. By hitting that bell, select all, and you'll be notified for any new videos that I publish out very, very soon. And believe me, like always, I have still got loads of ideas. All right. And we are getting to a point where I'm starting to show you some more in depth tutorials as well. All right, so please, I'll click the bell and I'll keep you posted with that. So to that on, if you want to find out more about this planet killer, please keep watching and let's do this. Well, guys and girls and everyone, tonight has been quite a night. I've been waiting for quite some time to get this, and as you can see, you've got a lovely shot of the moon. It's half crescent waning. In fact, no, it's half waning. And obviously I don't have much time because the skies in late July are very short, so I'm very lucky to get decent skies for a change. I've been waiting for months and months, and now finally got those skies. Now they're not quite dark because ideally I love to get skies that are literally dark enough so I can do some long exposure. So usually August is a better time for me up here in Scotland. But as you can see, we've got the mighty Maksutov 108 with the HEQ5 mount. You need a decent mount for this kind of setup because this has a lot of weight. We've got the ASI 662 MC camera, which is a color camera, and we've got focused on Saturn. Now, as we can see here, as we lower the exposure, Saturn is really interesting at the moment. Saturn's almost, the ring structure here are almost, they literally hedge on, which is really interesting because Saturn, despite its ring system, I want to get the ring system where they literally hedge on. They're not quite hedge on, but I reckon next year there will be. So as you can see, we've got a nicely focused Saturn, steady steadiness of the sky, the atmosphere is not too bad. Saturn is relatively low where I'm at. So as you can see, Saturn is very low in the sky. It's around about 15 degrees where I'm at. So I'm going to wait till it gets a little bit higher, just above the horizon, just to maximise some of that detail and get rid of that turbulence. So we're going to focus on a lot of brighter targets tonight, but as you can see, it looks very promising. I don't have much time because come around about 3 o'clock it'll start to get light. So wish me luck, guys and girls, and see where I get on. But so far, looks really good. Absolutely outstanding night tonight. So then, guys and girls and everyone, now as you can see, I'm doing my last capture of Saturn. Highest I can get is around about 21 degrees, which is not ideal. However, seeing has improved, and I've been tracking Saturn for a good almost 8 minutes, and as you can see, time left I haven't got long. Now the good thing about it, because I've got good seeing, look at the amount of frames I'm capturing. I'm literally capturing around about 140 frames per second, and I'm getting around about 72,000 frames in that 8-minute video, which sounds, it sounds obscene, but you need to capture as much detail as you can. If you get your settings right, I've got the smallest screen possible. I'm trying to lower the exposure as low as I can. The gain, I've raised it quite a bit, but I've tried to get it so it's not too much, but it's a little bit grainy, which is not ideal. And we've just captured 70, in fact it's just buffering now, it's just buffering the frames now, and it's going through, and I think with the amount of frames we're getting up, 80,000 frames so far. So that is amazing. This is really good. At around about 172 frames per second I've been capturing it, and it's still buffering. So 8 minutes, I think I'm really pushing it. I don't know if that's good enough or whatever, but 83, 84, and it's still buffering. Around about 85 frames per second. Yeah, 85,000 frames per second at that settings there, and the lowest capture area and the exposure time. So the gain is a little bit high, but we've got some good seeing. Tracking is absolutely awesome, and we managed to get some good detail there. So now I might move on to something else, because Saturn's now going southwards. Higher it is, yeah, the better it can be, but I'm going to start losing hard drive space at the moment. So the moon probably is my next target, I don't know, but we'll see. But I'm happy with the results so far. I managed to get some reasonable data, and again, you have to take series of film footage, right? Just keep capturing some of that data, all right, as much as you can. The more you capture, the more you can process, and getting 85,000 frames within an 8-minute video is pretty impressive stuff. So yeah, we're going to move on, because Saturn's now going to be moving away from me, because obviously it's going to go beyond my house, and we're starting to get some misty clouds, so we need to try and capture some good data on other targets. I think is a good idea. So then everyone, we're going to go and capture the moon. Moon is at half face waning, and I'm just scanning through what targets I'm going to go for, and this is one of my favourite regions, so I'm going to take straight the eye. Seeing is pretty good. Now my camera is slowing down because it's on the high resolution, so lower that down to try and speed it up. There we go. We've got a nice decent image. You have to play about with settings because usually using maximum resolution you start to lose some of that detail. Start to lose some of that frame rate. So just lower the capture area as you can. Get a decent result. So yeah, I'll capture some good region there with some decent results. So I'm not going to go too much on the moon because I need to go and focus on something else. So I'll capture a few frames from here and see how I get on. So then, moved on to Mars, and Mars is very low in the sky. I think it's around about 14 degrees high, and it just shows you that every night varies. Seeing is still good, but because Mars is very low in the sky, we're not getting a very good image at all. As you can see, it's all over the place. It basically looks like a features blob. There's no features I can define from it because it's too low. However, I am going to take some captures on this because my track is pretty good. I'm not going to be too not going to go too crazy trying to capture as much detail here, because where Mars is situated, the chances of gaining detail is pretty slim. Even though I'm using a large aperture telescope, the Mach 180, it is focused properly, and as you can see there, we've got some image there, but it's not brilliant. Hi everyone, as you can see here, what I captured from last night, I've captured this awesome image of Saturn, and his rings are almost edge on to us. Absolutely, truly amazing image. Now, in this demo, I'm going to show you how I did that image. So I'm just going to briefly go through series of software that I use, and the links will be described below in the description tab on this video. So please check out the links I use, the software, and I'm just going to briefly take you through step by step, straight to the point, no hassle, no nothing, to produce this truly stunning image. So the first thing that I would do is check out your files you captured. Now, as you can see, these are the files I've captured, and we've got a large amount of data. Each one of these are almost 8 minutes long. Ignore the length because I've recorded these at 8 minutes long, particularly this one. This is around 16 gig of data already with 8 minutes recording. So go through your videos, find out which one's the best ones for you. Ideally, you want to look at videos with a lot less turbulence, and you want the image to be reasonably tracked. I found that these three here are the ones I'm going to go for, right? So I've been checking out each of those videos, and these three are the ones that are best suited. These are the settings I've used for that camera. Alright, I don't know if this will be helpful to you guys and girls and everyone, but these are the settings I used. Alright, maybe it will help you. I noticed I had to up the gain quite a bit for Saturn because it was quite low in the sky, but look at the frame rate I've been getting. 77 frames, well, 77,000 frames. Alright, that's a lot of frames, and an actual frame rate I've been achieving is around about 160 frames per second. That's unbelievable. So you can stack each individual video, but I'm going to show you a process that might actually help you maximize your image stacking. Now, I will never do this method for Jupiter, because Jupiter atmosphere, its cloud belt structure rotates at an alarming rate. So if you're ever video recording Jupiter, you don't want to be recording any much more than 90 seconds, because what you'll get is when you stack the image, you will have a blurred image because the movement is that quick on that planet. The cloud structure detail will be lost. So ideally, if you're imaging Jupiter, keep below around 90 seconds or below. Okay, that's all you need for Jupiter. However, with Saturn, Mars, or any of the distant planets where there's very little change, I would go for this method, what I'm going to show you. And I would say for those particular targets, you can go 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, probably 10 minutes duration, video duration, as long as you're capturing as much data as possible. Also, the trick is, you notice that I have used a smaller screen size, 320 by 240. The smaller size capture area you can achieve, the more the frame rate you can achieve. That is the secret of getting the best possible images. So smaller that size sensor on planets, the bigger the frame rate. You must remember that, guys and girls and everyone. So that is the trick. As you can see, Saturn, when you capture it, it appears very small. Alright, so you need to reduce that window size as much as possible. And as you can see, I used a lot of gain. It's very pixelated, but I've got some good tracking and some good detail. Alright, so yes, you might be disappointed in the image quality that I'm showing you, but the secret is, as long as you get that that image, the smallest capture areas possible, the higher frame rate. So that's the image of Saturn that I captured. I'm now going to take you through this program, and here it is. Because we captured a lot of files, I'm using a program called PIPP. Now PIPP is a video editing software that you can use. What I like about PIPP is you can combine all those videos into one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to click on File, Add Source Files, and as you can see, we've already highlighted some of the planets. So these three here are the best ones. Okay, we click Open. So we've got 3 files that's AVI. As you can see, 30,000, 47, 77,000. Please remember, keep the size the same. Okay? So when you're recording, whatever you're recording, what size, try and keep the video the same size and the same settings as possible. So what we got that is there. We're then going to select Optimize options for planetary. We want to select join mode. Alright, those are the ones you're going to use. Then go into input options. I don't see any settings I could change here, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Now we go into processing options. Make sure that if you're recording, because I'm using a color camera, make sure that this box is unticked. Okay, so if it's ticked, it'll convert it to monochrome. We don't want to do that, so we untick it. We then capture object planetary. Make sure that stabilization mode is on that. You also ensure that enable object detection, okay, is ticked. You also want to ensure that the center object in each frame is ticked. Alright, so you want every object in there. You don't have to do some cropping, but you can just untick it, or just you can tick it, but just leave it ticked and it's not to worry. We then click on quality options. Don't do anything for that, leave that blank. Animation options, make sure that you play all files in forward order. So obviously it's going to play the first, second and third in order. Then we select output options. Make sure that this output is selected to AVI. We're then going to select directory where our file is going to be stored. So we're going to select it to desktop. And we're going to call the subfolder Saturn PIPP. Okay, in fact, let's spell that wrong. There we go. Saturn PIPP. Okay, that's the folder name. So it's going to save into our desktop, and that's the folder name. We then want to make sure that AVI is uncompressed. We don't want to compress it to lose data. We just want to keep that remained. Ignore all the other things. You can keep the frame rate to likewise 60 frames per second. It doesn't really matter, but I would say keep that as it is. Alright, it seems to work out better for me. We then do the processing, but before we do that, we select the source files. We hold down the shift key. So hold down shift key, select. So select those items, frames. Alright, select those videos, I mean. We then do the processing. And then what it's going to do, we're going to start the processing. And it's going to combine all those separate AVI files into a single movie file. Okay, so you're going to have loads of frames, around about 155,000 frames, all right, in total. That's a lot of data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back later because this will take a while. So we'll have a cup of tea, whatever you're going to do, quick break, and we'll get back to you. So we're almost there. Oh, now we're done. So now PIPP has finished stacking that video, and here we should have an AVI file, and there we go. We have now combined those three videos in one single video, and as you can see, that's a lot of data. 87 gig already. So we'll click on to view it, and you're just going to check to make sure everything's okay. And there we go. We have now got Saturn with those three videos combined as one. So you can go through every bit on that. Alright, and yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. So now we're finished with PIPP. We can cancel PIPP now. We don't need it. So with that video, that massive video that we combined,
We are now going to use Auto Stack It 2. This is the program that I use to obviously to stack some of my solar images. So I'm going to select desktop. We're going to find that video that we've stacked in PIPP. Just bear with me, guys and girls and everyone. Where is it? There it is. There's a video, and there's that huge file. Click on that. Click open. So what we've got now is that massive video with that massive 155 frames. Alright, that's a huge amount of data. So now what we're going to do is, these are going to be the settings. So because it's a planet, we want to stabilize that planet into the center. So ensure that you click on planet, which is COG. We're going to click on dynamic background, and we're just going to keep the quality estimator. You can have it from edge or gradient. I'm just going to leave it as gradient and keep the noise mid-range. Alright, 5 is a good range, I think. Now if we've got a massive amount of detail, you might need to up the noise level, robust, but we're not going to do that. Keep it to local, and we're going to analyze the data. So what it'll do is make sure we've got the view is all centered. Okay, so we're going to analyze the data. And again, this might take a while, so just bear with me because this is a huge video. So it might take a while to go through this analysis. So bear with me, everyone. And from the look of it, this will be very slow because this is a huge video. So what I'll do is we'll pause the video and we'll go back again and see what we get. So now once you've analysed it, you'll get a big massive graph like that shows you where are the good frames and where are the bad frames. Alright, so we got quite a lot of good frames here, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we select the stack options to TIFF file. You can stack a number of frames of, obviously we got 155,000 frames. However, what I'm going to do is we're going to do it as a percentage. So we're going to, I always say, go between 20 or 40% of the best frames possible. Because don't forget, you have a lot of bad frames due to the Earth's turbulence. That atmosphere that we've got is very unsteady. So it depends on how good your night is or how steady the Earth's atmosphere is, will determine how many you want to stack. For me, I would say that Saturn is relatively good, but it's not perfect. There's still a lot of turbulence. So what I've decided to go for is 40%. We always go for normalized stack to 85%. We don't want to go too high. And we're going to sharpen the raw to 85 as well. We also want to RGB align, so we want to align all those colors into a single image to make sure there's nothing that's going to scatter off. And you can have drizzle, but I will switch it off, leave it off. There's no need for it. So now we've got 40% frames. We're now going to, you can either stack the squares, the align points. The align points are there for you to stack the image. So if there's any like points of detail that you can capture, all right, you can actually set an align point to stack where that image is going to be. So it will basically stencil over each of the frames and pick out some of the best frames and align all those best frames together. So what I decided to do is, you can do it manually, or you can just do this, place a grid. Alright, so align a grid there, but as you notice, because the planet is very small, it's only highlighted a few align points. So we're going to clear that, and we're going to make the align point smaller. Okay, so click it to 24, and we've got a lot more align points there, which is much better. So what we'll do is I'm just going to increase the size so that I can add some align points myself, which particularly around the rings. So I'm going to add the align points there. Okay. You don't need to do too much because they're hedge on. We don't need to add too many align points here. So we've got some align points there. Only 47. It's enough. So now, once you've got your align points, there's no need to adjust brightness, right? And basically, with this analyze, it'll pick out the best frame. So this is the first frame here is always the highest. So this is the 100% one. So you can go through each of the frames and then pick out one you like the best. But the first frame here is always at the start. All right. So now we're going to stack the image, and this will take a long time because we are stacking a huge image. So I'll get back to you once it's finished, and I can show you some more processes. So as you can see, I waited quite a bit of time, and it's finally processed and stacked the image. And as you can see, it does take a long time. So the more frames you have, you're going to have to wait hours and hours. But what we're going to show you is if we cancel out, if we're just going to minimize that, we're just going to cancel auto stack it, we don't need that, and we're going to check the image. Okay, so as you can see here, this should be our image now stacked. Now you don't want that image because that is just a TIFF file. There's no editing or wavelets being adjusted to that, so you can delete that. So it's this image, this is now stacked in auto stack it, and as you can see, a much nicer, much sharper image. Okay, so we've got a nice lovely image of Saturn now, but we haven't finished there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Registax 6. So from Registax 6, this is a very old program. Again, it's free software, very old program, but I love the wavelets on this. Now I prefer to use Registax 6 than using IMPPG. For planets, Registax 6 is the go-to wavelet adjuster. Now you can stack the images from Registax 6, but it tends to crashes over 4 gig. So it's a very old program, but the wavelets are absolutely fantastic on this. So we're going to find our file, so we click on open file, and we're going to find that Saturn we've just stacked. So just bear with me until we find it. There we go, there's that stacked image, and we're going to click open. It says stretch intensify levels, which we are going to do. So there's no stacking required. So what we're going to show the full image so you get a bigger picture, and this is what I like. Now you can just play about with these settings, so you can adjust the denoise, which is to eliminate the noise in your image. I like to up that up to about 0.15, and the sharpening you don't need to do too much. you can go to 120 to 130. Once you've done that, you can then just click do all, and it'll do some adjustments. Now this is the wavelets here. These 6 tabs here are different wavelets that you can do. So what I like to do is just like move 1 tab forward. Okay, and as you can see, when you adjust mild adjustments, you can see wavelets are now getting adjusted. So you just tweak each setting. If you go too far or too much, right, you will get some weird artifacts. So, or the image just tends to look kind of false. So just tweak around with it, play about with the settings. Now as you can see, we're starting to get some weird artifacts. So we just back it off, do all again to refresh it. I think we still got some artifacts there, so we just keep backing it off. And it's just kind of just process it through. You want to get as reasonable sharp. Alright, that's a nice image there. As you can see, we've got those nice cloud bands there starting to show very clearly. So again, I think that's a bit too much, so we just back it off. And you just keep playing about with it. Again, you can just denoise the image, get rid of some weird artifacts. Yeah, it's just the way it goes with this computer. You just gotta keep adjusting your settings until you get a nice crisp image. Right, if it doesn't adjust, you just do all again to refresh it, and just keep doing that until you get the results you want. Okay, so it's just go through it bit by bit. Alright, and just do a bit of alterations. You can also adjust each settings as well to denoise the settings there. Alright, just click do all, and you just keep doing some minor adjustments on the sharpening, denoise. Alright, as you can see, we're starting to get a much nicer image there. And again, we just adjust some more settings. Okay, a little bit better. And again, you just adjust each wavelets until you get a nice sort of sharp image. And again, you just got to go through each bit and see what you get. Alright, so we've got a nice satin there. If you make a mistake or you don't like the image, don't worry. All you got to do is you can just reset the wavelets. So you just reset the wavelets and it'll go back on itself. Alright, so it just goes back to normal. So yeah, we're going back to normal after you just click on reset wavelets, and you just start again. Just go through each bit, alright, and just adjust each wavelets, alright, just take your time. Alright, try and get a natural sort of lot more sharp image, but also try and get it sort of that's looking a bit more natural now, but also a lot sharper. So again, you just keep going through each bit. And again, you're starting to get some weird artifacts. So again, we'll back it off. Back it off. Just do all again. It just takes some time. You just got to get the settings you want, that you start to feel that that's the image you want. Okay, so, and again, it's just the way it is. Like you say, some settings can vary. Alright, you get some images that will stand out. I mean, it's starting to look too false, you see there. So again, we just readjust it and just keep getting. You will get there in the end. You might have to do several attempts. So what I found was just adjust that slightly. Okay, that was okay. That was okay. That seems to be a bit more better now. Okay, so we've got a much sharper image. It seems a little bit more better than what it was. So we just do all. Okay, we don't need to do any of these other things, right? There's no need to do that. So once you're happy on your image, all you do is then save the image, and again you just rename it. And what I tend to do is just type in Registax Saturn. Okay, so that will give you, leave it as a 16-bit TIFF file, and it will save that setting. So you don't want to go too much because you start to get a false looking Saturn. We don't want that. So if we compare the results, you'll see the difference. So that's our one we just stacked with auto stacker, and this is the Registax setting. So we're going to compare the results. Okay, so we're just gonna, okay, so that's that one, and we're just going to show you each of the differences. And as you can see, that's the auto stacked one, and that is the Registax 6. And as you can see, a lot more improvement. There's a lot more detail, much sharper, and again we can do some more. So do some more editing. So again, it's that's the wavelets adjusted. We now proceed to go and show you some more stuff. We're now going to use Photoshop. Again, this is not free. You have to pay for this, which is only a month subscription fee of around about £8 to £9 a month. But it's definitely worth getting Photoshop. So I do all my video editing and animation. All my images I use through Photoshop, so I use it all the time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on File, and we're going to Open, and we're going to just find our Registax 6 stacked image. So we're just going to go and scan for that file. There we go, there's the file. Click on ASP40, there's Registax Saturn. So we click on that, click Open. So now we've got our sharpened image and it looks really nice. So because we've used a small size window, alright, it's a very small image. So first thing we want to do is, I like to create layers, duplicate layers. So every time you do an edit, you can always cancel that and clear that and just keep the original background. So we right click, and with that right click we can duplicate that layer. Always duplicate your layers so that any edits you do on that, alright, if you make a mistake you can cancel it, but you're not doing nothing to your actual original image. So because this image is very small, what we'll do is we're going to go to image, go to image size, and look at, see, as you can see there, it's a very tiny image. So what I'd like to do is just change the resolution to around about 300. It really just depends how big you want to do it. So 300 or 400, 500, it depends. As you can see, it's still a small image. So you just got to tweak it up to match that sort of size. I'll go for 500. 500 seems like a decent size. So we're just going to make that image just a little bit bigger. Okay. Alright, so we're going to fit on screen. Okay, like so. And we're just going to zoom it out a bit. Okay. Okay, so that is now a massive image. So with that, because we're using copied things, I'm going to go very briefly on Photoshop. There is so much you can do on Photoshop. So the first thing I like to do is go into this one, which is adjustments. You just left click and you just go on to levels. Go to levels, select RGB, and then just go through and adjust each wavelet. Okay, so you keep adjusting it. Go on the green channel, slide the bar in and out like so. Select the blue channel, and again just go for it slowly until you get sort of an image. As you can see, it looks paler. All we've done is just made it a little bit more colourful. We then press Ctrl and E to immerse that into the background copy. So whatever edits you do, just keep immersing it, and you just keep doing that all the time. So go back to this icon, and we can then adjust exposure. Alright, you can just make it brighter, alright, or make it dimmer, whatever you want to do. Okay, but what I tend to do is just make it a tad brighter. You can adjust the gamma, okay, to just make it, you just, like I say, you just got to tweak it to suit your taste. So press Ctrl and E again to immerse that file, and it will save that setting there. You then go back. You may want to add a bit of vibrance, so make the colours a little bit stronger. So again, tweak the vibrance up. Be careful not to do too much because you'll start to make it look false. So add a bit of colour. Okay, again, click the eye to see the changes. Okay, we'll just make it a little bit vibrant. Okay, alright, I'm happy with that. So then once you've done that, Control and E to immerse that file. Okay, so that will save that part into that background. We're now going to go into color, in fact saturation. You can play about with the saturation, but again be careful when you do too much, because if you go too much you may make the image haywire. So again, once you've got a slight tweak, just check it. Okay, slight tweak, happy days. We then press Ctrl and E, and that will immerse that setting. Again, go back to that part there. We can go into color balance. Now color balance, you can do some more color changes. So if you click on shadows, you can tweak the separate colors. Okay, so you can tweak some of the colors there that you want. Alright, again, be careful not to do too much. Alright, sometimes you might to back it off, and you may want to add a bit more colour on that sort of side. Okay, do a bit mid-tones. Again, just go for it nice and easy. Alright, a little bit of adjustments. Again, if you make a mistake in those settings, all you do is just go to edit and just undo. Alright, that will go back out of that setting. Alright, and you could just try something else. Alright, we've got a nice image there. I don't think we need to do too much adjustments. So what we can do is we go into filter, and we may want to get rid of some of the noise because there's a bit of noise in the image. So again, we're just going to clean it up. I'll always like to put up the radius to the lowest setting and the highest threshold of reduction. So again, it gets rid of some of the noise. Okay, happy days. That will automatically adjust. Then we can go into filter again, and you may want to do a bit of smart sharpening. So again, you can tweak up the sharpness again, but be careful when you're doing too much sharpening, because if you do too much sharpening, if we just minimize that, Alright, so we just make it a smaller size. Alright, 2.4 is okay, but if you went too much, you see, look how it just looks out of place. It looks unnatural. Alright, so you don't want to do that. So you just want to back it off to a reasonable level. Okay, you just need to just tweak it slightly. Alright, I've just put it down to about 2%. Let it go through because this is a powerful tool. This will take some time. So we've got some sharpening now. It did take a while to load up, but again you can click on the eyeball and see the changes. So we've got a little bit more colour, a bit more contrast, and we've also a little bit sharper image there. So there's not really a lot you can do. You can also type in your name, details, and all that, which I've already done anyway. But there's no need to do that, right? I've already shown that on my time-lapse video. In fact, me solar image video. So again, we don't really need to show you that. So I just undo the typing. Alright, just get. And again, if you can't get out of that, just right click and just get rid of that. So once you're happy with the results, you should get a nice detailed image of Saturn. You can also rotate the image as well if you're not happy with the angle of the image, right? Because if you want the Saturn to be a lot more natural, you can tilt the image. So you go to image rotation. You can either do it in 90 degree segments, or you can do a fine sort of image rotation by going to obligatory, and again just angle it until you're happy with it. So as you can see, you can adjust the angle. Alright, yes, you will get this weird artifact behind, but you can always crop it. So like, you just keep angle it to a certain way until you 35 degrees. Again, like, just crop over. Okay, yes, your image is going to go skew with, but you can always crop it. So you click on that rectangle tool and you can always just select your box there. Okay, and then you can then select image, go to crop, and you crop that image out. Bear in mind, when you do that, it will make your image small. So again, if you're still not happy with the result there, you can always rotate it again. So again, if we image rotation again, obligatory, we'll select 37 degrees. Okay, that's a bit too much. We'll go back on ourselves, image rotation, I'm guessing I'm getting it there. Okay, no. You just have to keep tweaking the image rotation. Like, what I will do is probably flip it round to 2 degrees. Okay, a little bit better. We'll just keep doing that. We'll just do that again. Image rotation. We'll try 1 degree. A little bit more. Try 2 degree. Okay, that looks better now. So now we can just crop that image. So keep cropping that image. You don't want to show that. We'll just get over that again and just keep adjusting it. We try not to get okay. We can then crop that again. Now also it looks a bit too small, so you can actually add a canvas size. Alright, so you can actually make that a little bit bigger. So you create a canvas size, and again we can just make that, change the width to 31, 16, click OK, and we've made the canvas a little bit better now, a little bit bigger. So again we just zoom out, and also that's a bit too much. So what we do is we then crop that image again to get a reasonable image. Ideally you want to get it in the center, at the center of this but again you don't want to do too much extreme cropping, because obviously if you do big amounts of cropping you tend to get the image sort of pixelated. So I'll just try that again, just keep doing that until you get a reasonable image. Okay, that's fine, and we'll go for that. So then we'll crop that, and there you go. So we've now orientated it. I'm happy with the results. This is just a brief introduction. Okay, we're now going to save that file, so you can save it as a JPEG or TIFF file. So I'm going to save that as a TIFF file, and we're just going to change that to whatever you want to call it. Photoshop Saturn. There you go. Alright, and that saved that image. So again, data compression, yeah, you just click OK. You don't want to compress it, you want to keep that as a nice image. And there you go, you got a nice image of Saturn. If we get out of Photoshop, okay, we don't need to go through all that. So now we click on the image. Yes, it's a 150 MB image, but you can convert it to JPEG to make it a lower file size. But if we open that, so we open with Photos, we can show you the final image, how it looks. As you see, there you go, and there's a nice image of Saturn. And there you go, what we've done there, we showed you the basics of using PIPP to combine all your video files together. With that, you then used auto stack it to stack the remaining 40% image of the best frames you've used. So we stack them, and then we use Registax 6 to then further adjust the wavelets to make it much sharper. And once we've done that, we then did the final processing using Photoshop. So please use this video as a guide. Hope this helps you guys and girls and everyone. This is the process that I always use with all my planets, and just like I say, go through these steps and you'll get some terrific results. So again, keep catching all those data on the planets and the moon, and have fun.
Well, guys and girls and everyone, what do you reckon? Absolutely, truly fantastic performance from this scope. This scope never ever disappoints me at all, and as you can see with those images I've produced, I'm just spellbound. It really is. Despite the weather, okay, it wasn't particularly good. The planets were too low, for example. Like I say, Saturn was, at the most I can get, was around about 25 degrees above the horizon, which is quite low. I didn't get ideal conditions. And like, as you saw with Mars and Jupiter, yes, I did. The atmospheric conditions were absolutely atrocious. They weren't that particularly great. They could be better, but the more higher those planets are, the better my views was going to be. All right, but unfortunately I didn't have much time, and always it is getting darker, so I've got a very small period of darkness, and it's literally about probably an hour or 2 hours at the most, where I could get some reasonable good planetary images. And then I got the moon as well. All right, the moon does play a huge part of the sky as well, how bright it was. It wasn't perfect, but this is a real astro channel. I've seen so many astro channels and they always show perfect sky conditions. It always seems to be everything is all staged. Here, this video is not staged. I show you exactly how I'm experiencing, and you will also experience these problems as well when you first start out this hobby. Alright, I'm not going to lie to you guys and girls and everyone. You take me as I am. Alright, I'm true to my viewers and my subscribers. Alright, not all videos are going to be perfect, but yes, I didn't get perfect sky conditions. However, I did have a good imaging session. I managed to capture a lot of planets and the moon in that short space of time, which shows how capable this telescope really is. And I hope the stacking and the image processing video also helped you guys and girls. Please use that as a video guidance, because like if you've just processed your image, you've just captured your data and you captured some amazing planetary detail, please use that video, okay? That will take you through the basics. Now, I'll bear in mind, I'm not an expert. There'll be a few people that are probably much more advanced than me, how they stack and process their images. But I think I just wanted to give out a basic guide to help you all to get through the first steps. Once you collect your data, you stack them, then you adjust the wavelets, and then you do the final process. What I did do slightly different was, because you've got a limited amount of recording time, particular planets are great for long recording. So like, for example, if you want to take longer video recordings, is much better on planets like Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Mars, Venus and Mercury. Those are the planets that are great for long video recordings. So the longer the video recording, and that's because there's very little changes between the movement of the cloud belts or the detail, okay, on those particular planets. Saturn is very far away, so you don't usually see the changes of the cloud belts as such. All right, so you can get away with long recording, and you can capture an amazing amount of detail. So the more the frames you can capture, the better your resulting image when it's stacked. However, be careful with Jupiter. Jupiter is a very fast spinning planet. Even the moons are spin really quick, and 90 seconds is probably your limit, okay? So what I tend to do is just capture as much frames with Jupiter within that 90 seconds. Anything longer, you'll start to get the clouds to blur out the image. So when you stack the image, your final resulting image will not be as sharp. It will actually be like field rotated. So the planet does spin really quick. So take short video exposures, but like planets like Saturn and Mars, for example, you can take much longer video recordings. The whole idea, the secret is as long as you lower that capture screen size, the better the frame rate. The more frame rates you can get, the quicker you can capture all that hidden steadiness between the gaps through the Earth's atmosphere. That is the secret. So as long as you get the smallest screen as possible, quicker that frame rate. But it really does depend from night to night. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you just can't. It's just the way it is with astrophotography. But this telescope never fails to impress me, without a doubt. As long as you get this cooled down, you will have no dramas. And again, I like, there's smaller variants as well of this telescope, and it really is absolutely outstanding optical performance. You've got the 150, the 127, and even the small 102 Maksutov. They're all great telescopes, and they deliver some razor sharp images with no false colouring at all. You really are getting a bargain of a telescope with this particular telescope. It really is. It's just absolutely amazing. So if you've got those other telescopes, bear in mind you're not restricted what you can do. You can capture amazing shots of the planets and the moon. It really is outstanding. So with this video, I hope you really enjoyed it. I certainly did too. This telescope never fails to impress me, and again, it's one of those telescopes that if you're very keen on planetary imaging, this is probably one of the best telescopes to go for. So from the 102 Maksutov to the 127 Mak to the 150 Mak to the 180 Mak, you will never be disappointed with a Maksutov when you're capturing the planets and the moon. The images are absolutely quite amazing. There's only one thing that I would like to address to certain manufacturers, and it's been going on for a while. And I'm sure there's a few certain individuals that are very keen on planetary imaging, but they really are looking for a high performance Maksutov. And we're talking a Maksutov probably bigger than the 180. And it's been going on for quite some years. And to be honest with you, despite the Schmidt Cassegrains, don't get me wrong, they are good telescopes, but there's one thing that I've noticed with this telescope: the images are a lot more crisper, they're a lot more sharper, they look more natural compared to a Schmidt Cassegrain. But that just depends on the aperture, the sky conditions. It can be many other factors. But I just wish that, like Skywatcher and some of the other companies, why can't they make a larger aperture Maksutov, much bigger than the 180, and start looking at 9-inch, a 10-inch or a 12-inch Maksutov? Can you imagine the performance they would make? It would be absolutely, truly amazing performance. Can you imagine the optical detail captured on those planets, particularly Saturn and Jupiter? I think companies need to start looking at producing bigger Maksutovs. Yes, there's going to be problems with a meniscus lens being quite hard to manufacture, and the weight issues. But think about it, guys and girls and everyone. Can you imagine a large aperture Maksutov? I would love to see the results if some company produced such a telescope like that. Can it compete against 11-inch to a 14-inch Schmidt Cassegrain? That would be very interesting to know how these Macs work. And it's a real shame that to this day these Maksutovs have been going on for quite some time, and yet no company has ever started producing a larger aperture Maksutov. And yes, it is a bit of a niche telescope. It doesn't sell particularly well, particularly larger apertures like this. But I would love to be interested how such a telescope will perform. And I just wish that Skywatcher just take notice of this video. I'm sure myself and there's many others are also sort of destined to or wishing for a larger Maksutov. It would be very interesting how such a scope would perform. But I thought I'd just share this video to share my experiences. And if you are considering buying this telescope, this is the video to watch. And again, I have done many other videos based around this telescope, so please check them out at the top. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please use that little tutorial that I did. If you're just new to producing a planetary image, please use that video as a guide. It's a little basic guide and it will take you through the basics. Alright, so yes, there'll be people who are going to be a lot better than me at that, processing and stacking the images, but that's the way I do it. Alright, there's many others who will probably do a different way, but that is the ones, these are the programs that I use. And again, the links below for those programs. 3 of them are freeware, so they're free to download. However, Photoshop, you have to purchase it yourself. But those are the programs I use, and they've been absolutely amazing, and they give me some amazing images throughout the years. This telescope has never let me down, not one bit. And despite some of its flaws, which it does, who cares? This has been the best telescope for planets. It really is absolutely astounded me throughout the years. And again, I bought something that I'm going to keep, and yet I've still got my 127 Mac. That's again a truly amazing little scope. That Maksutov is such a good all-round performer. It really is. Again, so underestimated on its capabilities, and I just love Maksutovs. Maksutovs are just truly the planet killer telescopes. Despite they're not going to be as good as a refractor, but they're going to be miles cheaper than a refractor, and yet they'll produce slightly better images depending on aperture. Alright, okay, a 14-inch Schmidt Cassegrains is going to beat this telescope hands down, but of course it's the aperture. Aperture is king, and aperture, it really is king when it compares to planets. So yeah, I wish that Skywatcher and the other companies start producing a bigger Maksutov, and we're going to see if they do listen, because I think a telescope of large aperture would be a good seller. It really is, and again, it just depends. All right, but again, thanks for watching my video. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe to this video. Please hit a like button if you like this video. All right, I've done a lot of hard work into this video, so if you like what you see, please hit a like button. And again, please share this video out. Again, there may be someone that's vastly interested on this particular telescope, and don't forget to hit the bell. All right, by hitting that bell, select all, and I'll keep you notified for any new videos that I publish out very, very soon. And believe me, I've got a lot of projects. So to that on, thanks again, thanks for watching, and I wish you all clear skies.